Hello everyone, and welcome to DrakeMakes. This week I took a few hours to put together a whimsical, foggy coastal town. Here's how I did that. In this video you're going to see me try a lot of things that I ultimately end up scrapping. I was using Unreal 5's built-in experimental water plugin, but it was being extra experimental this week, so I ultimately had to go with a different plan. I continued messing around with cell shaders this week, but for the life of me I could not decide on a final look. So at the end they actually get toned down a lot more than you see for most of the creation process. I used the color replace tool in Photoshop to change the color of the pilot's coat, but towards the end I go back to the red look. This scene is a mix of low and high poly assets. I wasn't sure how this was going to look, but the fantasy assets alongside the megascans actually looked pretty cool in my opinion. I was expecting to have to lean on the use of cell shaders to make these assets merry, but it turns out even with the default lighting, they look pretty good. From here on, I just make up the scene as I go, adding rocks and buildings until the scene feels organic. Like usual, I went in with a loose plan, but most of the scene is improvisational. The buildings being used in this render are from the Greenwood Fantasy Village pack on the Epic Games Marketplace. I swear, they have an asset pack for absolutely everything on there. I planned for this scene to only be shot from one vantage point, so this is why you see me jumping back to this spot so many times. Here I begin toying with the cell shader look, and Like I said earlier, I could not decide on a final look here. There's so many different combinations and ways you can drastically alter the look of your scene. So it wasn't until I started adding the fog that I started really understanding where I wanted to take this all. There is no method to the madness you're observing. I was just typing in random numbers and waiting until something popped out at me. So eventually I just moved on and kept adding to the environment and decided to put the cell shaders off until later. At this point, all the geometry in the scene had been laid out just about how I had envisioned it. Here I made the decision to switch all the rooftops to red, which was really easy to do. With this Fantasy Village pack, you can go in and fine-tune all the individual colors of the buildings. And now I finally set up the fog as advertised. With just the slightest adjustment to a few values within the post-process volume, the entire mood of the scene changes. After that, I replaced the glitching water as mentioned in the beginning of the video with what I believe was around 96 water planes. Once all those are in place, the scene is finished. And there we have it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this time lapse. Be sure to subscribe to see more creative content coming soon.